What's going on, beautiful people? This tank right here is not a very nice looking tank at all, but that is for good reason. I recently broke it down and moved a lot of the fish across to a new setup. So yeah, I moved a lot of them into this one here. It's mainly my cichlids. So well, it's not, it's also a lot of tetra as well. But yeah, they come to the front, they think it's feeding time. We're not feeding you yet, guys, but we've got a flag of Acaras in here, and we've got our keyhole cichlids as well. They're still young, so they're growing out in this tank, and then eventually they'll be in a nice bigger one as well. Yeah, basically this tank failed because I used some wood that I found locally, and it just would not stop leaching tannins. The filter isn't running on it, the water levels dropped, there's some algae. The fish that are in here at the moment, they're completely fine because it's got a massive substrate system, so it's got its own sort of filtration, if you like. But there are a lot of Corys in here. I didn't move them across to the new tank because I didn't want to overstock it, but there's quite a lot, and I wanted to do a setup just for these guys. There's more than just those two there. There's quite a few just sort of dotted around everywhere. So these are black fin Corydoras. They're very, very cute. They're going to look great in a tank of their own. Let's make it. And as always, in the interest of keeping things real with you, this is the tank I'm going to be doing it in, which I need to clean out quickly. But yeah, it's a 60 centimeter or 2 foot. We've got a lovely twin star light that needs a bit of a clean as well. But let's get this looking really nice. A great little setup for these Corys. Boom, we're looking clean. Now, this is going to be a little bit different. I don't want a substrate system in this tank, purely because Corys, they like to sift around in all the bottom. I'm looking at nothing, aren't I? This isn't interesting. So I'll spin around and look at this tank where there are now no Corys at the front. But they like to sift around in the bottom and on the sand and things like that, in and amongst like some of the detritus you can see, and potentially some botanicals as well. Now recently I went to Aquarium Design Group in Houston, Texas, and we set up a tank and we put in some pygmy Corys, and they looked so good on just a tiny little bit of sand. That's what I want to do for these guys here. Now Jeff's style is very minimalist, a lot of hardscape heavy with just a little bit of greening, he calls it. We're going to sort of adopt some of that, but with a little bit more of my sort of over the top amount of plant style. But the key in getting the tank right is a really, really strong hardscape to begin with. So down here in my hardscape selection, I've got quite a few different rocks. I quite like that these are all kind of different. There's some Sirius stone, mountain stone, some other different pebbles. But when they're piled in like this with all the different colours, they actually look quite authentic. So I might do that actually. And even some of those over there, which I don't actually know what that stone is, but it looks nice. I've got a ton of black lava rock there, but I want to use that for a setup in future. So I'm not going to touch that. Plus that might hide some of the sort of black fins on the Cory. So yeah, I'm going to use a selection of all of these, I think. So no idea. Oh, there's some really weird stuff on this. I think that's just where I've glued some stuff on it before. Turn it around then. No idea what I'm actually going for yet. I'm just going to start placing stuff in and moving it around, letting it evolve with each rock that goes in. So I sort of used the angles of the rock there to sort of lodge it together to start with, just so it looks like it's kind of naturally fallen. We want more height than that. We want wood as well, but I'm making sure that I keep a root all the way around, because there's nothing more fun than seeing the Corys go around in circles. Also want to keep that gap in the middle, because that'll be fun to see them going through there as well. Now I'm just going to continue the process. I think I want a smaller piece out here, but I want to bring wood sort of looping over like a canopy. I did see some stuff in the wild with Corys, and it did show like a canopy that they sort of like take refuge under. So I want to try and sort of simulate something like that. I'm going to try and put some wood pieces in. I'm not saying this is where they're staying at all, but I just want to try and get a bit more of an idea of the composition. And I'm just trying to create that canopy that I suggested, which is probably going to be quite difficult. So I've been fiddling around for quite a bit, and I'm starting to get the vibe that I'm going for. It kind of looks a little bit separated in this section, so I might have a bit more of a fiddle, but you can see what I'm doing now, right? I'm trying to bring this right over. We can attach different epiphytes for it, so it's like the top of the tree, if you like, that's coming out of the water, even though the whole thing will be water, or maybe it won't. Maybe I do a sort of paludarium, not paludarium, you know what I mean, like a lowered water level. Because to be honest, Corys stay at the bottom a lot anyway. They only go up to the top when they're darting, and they'll explore over the hardscape. We'll see how we feel. I might want plants at the top and everywhere else as well. I'm just going to keep going. Now you see how that piece doesn't work, it's just too straight, it just looks odd compared to the rest of sort of the gnarled, twisted wood. We've got manzanita here, and we've got, I think it's called wine wood or like rope wood, something like that. There's two different types, but that one, yeah, not working. Again, all rather straight, so yeah, scrap it, just try something else. There we go, here's what I've come up with. So we've got like 3 islands. I mean, that one's just a little diddy one. Just add a little bit of detail in that bottom section. But basically, I just kept laying wood upright, and eventually it inevitably just all fell down. But actually, when they're laid on top of each other like that, and it just keeps sort of laying pieces on, it gives more of that branched look over in that section that I was looking for. And it looks like an outcrop. Exactly what I want, but also it's a great framework now to be able to attach plants to wherever we want as well. Now all of this is loose, it needs gluing down or it will float, and for that I've got this cyanoacrylate super glue gel. Just a few dabs and some key points will lock it all together. Right, it's been a good few hours. Tap test, tap tap tap. Yep, that feels firm, like not solid. About 24 hours it'll be pretty solid, but it's enough that I can work around it without the whole thing collapsing if I knock it a little bit. Get that gluing phase done as soon as possible. It's quite dramatic, isn't it? I like this. Because we haven't got a load of plants we're going to be putting all in the substrate, this needs to be the part that really does sort of wow you. And no fish tank looks wow without fish, let's be honest, but we can get a substrate layer in now. Just that dusting at the bottom should look really nice. And I've got a nice sand here. Got this from Maidenhead Aquatics. I'm upside down because there's a hole in the top and I just put sand everywhere. But this is the stuff here, look at that. It's kind of like ADA La Plata, but way cheaper. Now it's probably best to wash the sand, but I never do because I can't be bothered. I'm just gonna let the filter sort of clean up any mess. But like I say, I don't want a huge amount of this, I just want a dusting. So dust it around to start with, and then when the water's in, we can sort of push it wherever it needs to go. It's amazing how having a substrate though, or a decorative sand, sorry, it's not really, I think substrate is the term used for like a full system full of nutrients. Decorative sand, it transforms the whole look straight away, doesn't it? Ties it all in nicely together. But now it's time to do some of that greening that we learnt with Jeff. I'm going to take it to the next level. Jeff is a less is more kind of guy. I'm a more is more kind of guy. So I want to make this tank quite heavy with Anubias Nana bonsai, and that's actually going to give us that bonsai look. I want to make this structure look like it's kind of like a tree. So we've got like areas that's condensed pockets of the bonsai. And down here, I've got an absolute ton of them. I've got like, I don't know, 5-6 pots, so that should be perfect to get us started. And just look at how perfect these plants are. So they're all from Aquafleur. You can see the logo there. I always say this, but yeah, they're so good quality. I don't mind giving them a free shout out. Why not? You know, they're absolutely brilliant plants. Look how dense these are. These are new leaves that have been growing just while they've been sat in my storage tank there for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, there's a big selection here, and you can see they've all still got the roots. I'll keep the roots on. I think that's going to add a sort of authentic, viney look to the tree as well. So there's all the plants prepped. Like I say, kept those roots, looks really nice. And now all we've got to do is use the super glue gel to stick it to the wood structure. So I want some key points. I want to keep these like quite nearer to the edges, like they're on the edge of the tree, and then just a couple of other little ones for detail. Oh, that looks so cool. I'm really happy with how that's turning out. We're nowhere near done, obviously. Now, I was going to split some of them up so there were smaller clumps as well. But once I started doing it, I really felt that keeping them all of an equal size really does give that sort of bonsai feel. Now we're going to have other elements as well. I want to put some boosters in like a gap there, for instance, and I'm going to use points where there's contact with glue, so like there as well, just in that little section there. We'll put a little bit of boost in that on there as well. So just changing the textures up and the tone slightly, adding a little bit more interest. So we've got two different kinds of boost here. We've got boost flanger, green velvet. I mean, just look at these. So nice. And then we've got boost flanger bablis as well. A smaller, more sort of dainty look to it, but nice textures and tones. Completely different, as you can see. I thought I had more than 2 pots, but you know, 2 will be enough. You don't want to go silly, do you? Yeah, right. I also managed to find this boost, which is the same green variety, the velvet, but it's very mature. You can just see how tall it's grown, and it's already attached to a rock with some glue, so I can just place that in as well. And I think that is now enough on the hardscape. You can still see the branches. It has got a very sort of tree vibe. I'm liking it. Kate just come in and said she really liked it as well. Didn't you, Kate? Hiding. But now I want to add some more details around the bottom section using some Monte Carlo. So this is a tank that I was taking down. I just pulled the water out and removed it. And then I realized how good and established the Monte Carlo is. So I just left a little bit of water in it, and I can actually harvest this now. Literally, you can just pick it out and glue it to some rock, and it will just keep growing. So there's absolutely nothing complicated about what we've done there, and that's the point of this scape. I'm trying to make it simple and enjoyable for everyone. But I'm worried that these are going to dry up quite quickly, so I'm just going to fill this up now, and then we can get a filter fitted. Oh, and in case you're worrying about the Monte Carlo and the glue, because it's not really an epiphyte, but it kind of is. So the parts that touch the glue will obviously die, but the rest of the stem will just start taking on nutrients, and it will continue to grow. I've done it before many a time, and it works fine. Okay, don't do what I just did. Me and Kate got distracted, and all of a sudden we heard water spilling. And it's surprising how even 2 seconds of that water overflowing makes a massive mess. We've already got the, we've already had the Hoover out and cleared most of it. This whole area just pulled with water from less than like 4 seconds. Can't believe you distracted me. So we filled up. There's this weird thing here, I don't know what that is, maybe something from the rock or the wood, I don't know. It'll go away in a minute when we get the filter on. But some people might be looking at this design that we've done here and think, well, it would be better if you know, put more in that area and then it flow to that way. I deliberately have just done it plonk, 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 because lots of people don't want to be intimidated by options and things like that, and they want to know they can just put something in simply and have something that looks pretty beautiful. I mean, for instance, my wife came in and she thought this was amazing. So I actually really like the depth it's given. It's given us like, I don't know, it just feels jungly, it feels tree-like, and it feels simple. You know, we can do the complicated ones, of course, if I swing around. So here is the Archerfish tank. These guys are doing brilliant. This is a very complicated setup, a lot of cost as well. So I can do those, but I like showing all different varieties and sort of, I don't know, levels, like aquarium building levels. So with this one, it's just a structure, plonk some plants on it, stick some in the foreground. I think it looks great. So it's now the next day, and the tank has gone very, very murky. Now I could have just pretended that didn't happen and just done a water change, but it's real, and this is something that you guys might encounter. It's actually very common, and let me explain why. So yeah, I mean, look at that. That's not the sight that people want to see when they come and see their tank in the morning. The reason I didn't just fit the filter and everything yesterday, I just ran out of time. So why does this happen? Well, these plants were all in an established aquarium, which means they were just covered in beneficial bacteria. The bottom parts of the Anubias were also submerged in water. They would have had beneficial bacteria as well. And what we're basically seeing here is a die-off, because when it filled up, it was completely clear. So you know that's not misting from the sand or from the rocks or anything. It has to be bacteria die-off, or multiplication as well. I'm not entirely sure, but we do know that it happens. So what I basically said there is, I'll tell you what it is, but I don't know. It's a simple fix though, water down, water up again, get the filter fitted and we'll all be good. Okay, we're filled up, still a slight haze to it, but that means we can now get the filter fitted. So I've got this mega cute, tiny little filter. I think that's like actual, let me get it out, that'll tell us. Right, so it's not actual size, but it's not far off. Look at this tiny little thing. So my plan was to have it like sat right next to the whole thing, like kind of an industrial look, but I'm not sure if that's gonna work because I've also got these cute little pipes. Look at that. Stainless, I love a stainless, because the glass ones, they get all gunky and you have to clean them, and these you don't. But the problem is if I put it here, like that, look, the pipe isn't gonna go on it. So I'm gonna have to drop that maybe down in there and then have the pipe coming up, but I still don't know if that'll work because of the bendiness of the pipe going to that. So I might have to drill some holes, which will then affect the structural integrity of my shoddy craftsmanship, but I'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's a Superfish EcoFlow 120. Let's see what we've got inside. Well, I can never get this off with one hand. Oh, it's okay, that's supposed to come off. There we go. Oh, there we go. Why am I so clumsy? So first of all, we've got this thing. We've got a less coarse sponge. We've got an even finer sponge. And we've got a polishing pad. And then another thingy bob at the bottom just to stop, I guess, like the flow being restricted. But I think I'm going to take out one of these pad sections so I can add a ton of the crystal clear, which is basically like activated carbon and zeolite, which helps with ammonia capture, and the carbon as well itself will get covered in beneficial bacteria and da 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 da. So I've got some little media bags. I can pour loads of this stuff in there. In fact, why am I using two? I could just put it all in one, can't I? You know what? I think I'm going to leave out the black one because it's almost similar to the yellow. And it's really thick, so see you later. So it went white polishing pad first, then this bad boy. I mean, that's quite a lot of space. And then it went yellow, blue, and then top thingy. Okay, I've taken up quite a bit of space there. It does compress down. Should you compress it down? Probably not. So I think if I just slice both these sponges a little bit, I can slice the blue one a bit, and then we're all good. There we go, that's massively reduced it in size. Yellow, blue, thingy. There we go. Let's hot back one. So then we've got all of our pipe work, pipes, inlet and outlet tubes and things like that, but we've got our pretty silver one, so we don't need any of that. Oh, actually we need this, like a two-way valve thing, and also the grip for the pipe, grippy thing. Suction tubes as well, they'll be useful, but not that. So I'm thinking place it in here somehow, something like that. Then we can sort of have the pipe work coming up like that, or just cut it to size as well. So here's what I've done. I've set up the piping, looping it over the top like that, and I've kept it so that it's turned towards the glass, which means you get far less impact inside the tank, but it's going to do a really good job still. Now, yeah, I suppose the pipe work doesn't look perfect, but we're not a gallery, we're a studio. And that is my excuse and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, all the siphon's been started, the filter is full of water, I can literally just turn it on now. It's working slow, there we go. Little bit of air trapped in the system. That should clear itself in no time. Coming out, pretty good flow, look. I'm well happy with that flow. Cory's like a bit of flow as well. Still a little bit misty because of all of that zeolite and carbon we put in, but a little bit of AQUARIAN, API AQUARIAN. I use this whenever I'm setting up tanks and it will be clear very shortly. There we go. I told you it would be crystal clear in no time. I'm going to be honest with you, it's been a day, but it did clear within an hour, I promise you that. It's just that I ran out of time for filming, but now it's like, no, perfect. We're ready to go. We can put our fish in. So I've collected up all the Corys, as you can see there. Looking at so cute. I don't know how many I've got actually. What have I got? I'm going to estimate like 15 maybe. Maybe a few more. I'm not entirely sure. I should have counted them as I put them in, but it's too late now. Well, it's not too late. I could count them, but just, yeah, no. We are looking sweet. Let's put these in. I'm very intrigued to see how they behave. All the water parameters are pretty much matching. There's a lot there. Look at that. Whoa. So, as many of you all know, Corys are a schooling fish. So having a good number like this in this tank means that they will all swim together, probably in separate groups, but they will stay together quite a lot. That looks really good actually, the way that they sit on the sand. They stand out so well. I was a little bit worried that the colouring wouldn't be like, I don't know, that they'd blend in, but I'm completely wrong. Look, you can very clearly see the Corys. Well, this one's just hanging out in a tree, and I don't really know what that guy's doing back there. So yeah, Corys predominantly hang around in the bottom parts of the tank. They do occasionally sort of flick up, and you'll see them swimming around in like the mid-tank as well. So I want to have something else swimming around in that sort of tree section, just for a bit of interest, and because I want to. So I'm also going to go with a bunch of home-bred Endlers. I've got like a mixed bag here. It's from one of my breeding tanks. I just think they'll look really nice in this upper section. Yay! Loads. There's like different ages there. Oh, a little bit of a Anubias leaf. Yeah, there's different ages here. There's males, there's females, different sizes. And yeah, look at that straight away. That looks really nice. I absolutely love an Endler. I love the sort of, I don't know, the peacefulness of them. They suit tranquil tanks in my opinion. Yes, their swimming behaviour is quite sort of chaotic. They kind of go everywhere, but they're just, I don't know, look at that. That's quite a serene, is that the word? Serene scene. Yeah, really, really pleased with that. Now, of course, this is a brand new setup. We haven't got any active substrate or anything, so we should be good with, there won't be any rise in ammonia in that, but always want to add fish, quick start, beneficial bacteria, getting that stuff in there, so good. And for this tank, I'm going to need 3 capfuls. 2, 3, and as always, a little bit for luck. Now obviously you don't have to add a little bit for luck. I don't know why I do that. I've just always done that. That was even before I was sponsored by API as well. I used to just a bit for luck, you know. And obviously these plants feed off the water column because they're not in roots. So a little bit of fertilizer as well. I've got my leaf zone. That should be enough actually. Not too much because obviously it's brand new setup. The plants are still adapting to being underwater. So yeah, that should be perfect.
So the tank has now been set up for several days and it's going really, really well. The Corys seem massively happy. They're very, very chill, just hanging out in their little zones. Not entirely sure what this guy is doing. It looks like a glitch in the Matrix, if I'm honest. And the Endlers have got a lot more comfortable as well. They're all over the tank now. They're not just sitting in the top. Very, very comfortable, and we've got some really beautiful varieties in here as well. One of my favourites being this snakeskin one here. Now all of these were bred by me. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but yeah, these are all babies from adults that I've had from a long time ago. The snakeskin ones are from an Endler that I had 2 years ago, so it's really nice just to be able to have a good few of those. There's a complete mix in here though. Look at that Cory there. I love that when they just come up a little bit and just start exploring different parts of the tank. Now, because of very low organics in the system, because there's no active substrate, you don't get any oiliness to the water. Look at the surface there. It's like a mirror finish. It's just looking spot on. I also added a few amanos just to keep on top of a little bit of cleaning. With a tank like this, it shouldn't require a lot of amanos. I think I put about 4 or 5 in, and that should be plenty. The Monte Carlo down here is trying to convert. You can see that there's some new leaves popping off already. It's just a different change in water parameters. And as it sort of gets accustomed to it, it will just grow better and better and better. And eventually it will just sort of carpet that whole bottom section because it tends to want to grow horizontally, especially considering the fact that we've got higher lighting on this one. All of the plants will grow. They'll just grow nice and steady and not have to be constantly in there trimming. It's just one of those tanks that you can just set up and enjoy. I think this will work perfectly in a sort of I'm thinking like a dining room, something like that. A real nice talking piece if you've got people around for dinner or something like that. But yeah, a real peaceful tank, I think, because the Corys do give you that peacefulness. They're one of the kindest fish I find. My wife absolutely loves Corys as well. So yeah, I think overall, a really, really nice successful tank.